boom, the NASDAQ. Look at this dollar index, guys.
First of all, do you have bullish momentum today?
If you trade oil, you should know about this.
What do you think about euro dollar, pound dollar? Some of these things that have kind of moved explosively. If you're on the sidelines and you're not in these trades, how do you potentially partake? And if so, where do you look for that?
Resistance level. Yeah, you do not need to be Warren Buffett to see that that is at a key resistance level.
It comes down to how much self-control do you have?
And I think the S&P has quite a bit of room to go.
It's coming down to the wire here. We've got 50 seconds to go, guys. Coming in with the CPI number. Here it is. Let's see what we get. I'm going to tell you guys right now, this reaction most likely it's coming down to the wire here as we've got 50 seconds to go, guys. Let me set up my window here for success so that we can take a closer look. Let's get DXY up in the top left. We got to get the S&P 500 trade on the screen. No questions there. And I don't know what's going on with my my color scheme here. Let me get this going. Let me see how this one goes. And then finally, let's do gold top left. We've got dollar top right. Let's get this fixed. Right, racing against the clock here, guys. And last one, let's do Euro USD. So Euro USD on the screen. And breaking news, guys. Here we go. All right, coming in with the CPI number. Here it is. Let's see what we get on today's number. All right, euro dollar initially up. Oh my gosh, the S&P just gapped higher. Okay, S&P up, gold up, dollar down. I'm going to tell you guys right now, this reaction most likely is a cooler than expected number. Am I right about that? Did we just get a cooler than expected print on CPI? Yes, in fact, we did. This, I'm going to tell you guys, this is awesome, right? This is what the market needed to see. In terms of risk assets continuing their trend, it's of course never a guarantee with this stuff. It's not certain that this is going to continue, but I will say, this is what the market ordered. This is what I was talking about here. And of course, I didn't know, let me not try and sound like I'm taking credit for knowing this was going to happen. However, most likely scenario for me was, hey, dollar should weaken here. And look at this, dollar coming down strong here. This is really nice to see for our trade idea. I imagine the S&P trade is looking pretty clean. There it is, up $13,840 off that signal that was shared in Discord. Again, this is a live brokerage, no nonsense. This is my WeBull account, which is US regulated. We are running hot here, and this has become definitely trade of the year for me in terms of, look at that, $14,000. I know, for some people that might be not a lot. For other people that might be a crazy number, but wherever you are, it doesn't matter. P&L is not as important as having the diligence to stay in trades that you're supposed to. Look at this dollar index, guys. Dollar index daily chart, lower high. Watch how this candle closes, because if you get something closing underneath the lows here, very impressive sell pressure there. So watch the dollar for, what seems to be, again, very clearly a change from this dominant upward trend. We've now gone sideways. I think you're really starting to see that downward trend that we've been looking for starting to truly form. So dollar bearishness still intact for me. S&P staying long, gold looking for bullish setups potentially.
Couple of things, a couple of ways. First of all, do you have bullish momentum today? You don't have a 55-21 EMA crossover. You need to have I want at least the previous high to be hit, then whatever the pullback is. And it's in the pullback the making of the cake is. Because if you look at gold reversals, okay, except for this one over here probably, but when you look at gold reversals, okay, what generally tends to happen? Where is it? New higher high, and then this massive drop. Everyone's like, stop, get out, it wasn't bullish after all, what's going on? And then it goes higher. And then the same price, and then market comes back down to give or take around the same area again. And everyone was like, stop loss, stop loss, stop loss. But that's where you are supposed to be tactical. I'm not saying you're supposed to buy every bearish trend that is out there, but be pragmatic in your approach. Be objective. What do we have? We have a bullish momentum. Okay, but we have a range. Okay, doesn't matter. Okay, where do you want the price to be coming back down to? Mostly like that. Okay, and then you want it to go higher, then it goes higher, and then you want to come back down again. But it didn't do that before it turned into bearish. Okay, then you didn't get that entry. Same thing for me and USDN. So at the moment you have pullbacks on gold. It's very exciting to be like, oh, I want to buy it now. But if you wait until tomorrow, you're probably going to get a better price. John SF says, a quick question, if you have time, how do you know what resistance support level to enter ahead of time? Oh, my friend, you asked a golden question about my experience. And my experience tells me that it should hit certain levels. That is like there's like a secrecy between us traders. We tell each other which level we want to get in and out of, and then we know in advance which level to get in and out of. So I'm sorry, people. It's it's a secret. Sorry. No, it's some secret. No, it's just choosing. I choose. This is resistance. This is local resistance, short-term resistance, because I believe anything in between here is just horrible trading or slaughterhouse, or that's where people lose money. So I want to get in at the beginning of a trend, either as a buyer or a seller. So that means I need to have, I would also then color this one down here, as to be a buy zone. So I would say buy zone is down there, sell zone is up there, and that's everything. I choose to not focusing on a lot of support and resistance because it's just noise in between. So I focus on the extremes more than trying to find, fit, or move any. Says, I believe it's a joker. Of course. What do you think, Nick? Chose me. How do you manage hyper impact news when you have swing positions running for days? Oh, dude, that's the best part. Let me tell you. Okay, if you know you're gonna get 1,000 pips profit if you can just keep your fingers away from this mouse. If this mouse, if you can keep yourself away from this one, then sure. It comes down to how much self-control do you have. Secondly, it comes down to how many times have you done that specific setup. And then you can go through what Ivan posted yesterday. Let's see if I can find that. I posted yesterday. I posted dream trades and trade setups that I develop. Okay, so I have a certain setup. I have a certain market I want to enter, and I avoid everything else. Now, as a trader, I think that news is great. I love news, not because I can trade it or lose money in it, because I believe that it's going to send my trades in the right direction.
Trade that we was looking at was US dollar, Canadian dollar. Yeah, and why was we looking at this? Let me just sort of take you through the technical analysis that I do, guys, and how I look at trading and things that I look for in order to take a setup. And once I've shown you this, guys, I'll also happy to take a couple of questions. So if any of you guys have got any questions, then you can fire them over to me and I'll try and answer a few as well. So technically, this was such a beautiful trade anyway. So if we start with the weekly chart, yeah, as you can see, guys, US dollar, Canadian dollar was at a key resistance level. Yeah, you do not need to be Warren Buffett to see that that is at a key resistance level. Okay, and then if we zoom in, guys, we have had a humongously bearish weekly candle form at that level. Yeah, I mean, even if you just sold this candle, that would make sense. Okay, but we gather more information to make informed trades. So, you know, resistance level, huge bearish weekly candle. So this is telling us we can look for sells. And then if we drop down to the day chart, guys, you know, we have a beautiful technical setup. So as you can see, this blue line here is acting as a channel. Yeah, you can see price keeps reacting at this level and pushing higher. But not only do we get a break out of that channel, that trend line, we also break this last low in here. So we've had a break out of a channel and we're getting lower lows, which is the definition of a downtrend. Okay. And if that wasn't enough, we get a beautiful retrace. Yeah. If I zoom in now, you can see we get a beautiful retrace. And I love a retrace. A retrace just means that I am getting in at the best price possible. Yeah. And then we see this candle here. Yeah. And if this candle here, you know, in a downtrend doesn't tell us to start shorting it, then what does? Yeah. That's clearly telling us to short US dollar, Canadian dollar. We're in a downtrend, tick. The weekly chart told us we could sell this resistance, tick. We've got a nice retracement, tick. We've got a bearish candle at a resistance level, tick. You know, what is not to like? Okay, so the idea was to, we've been trading since we saw this candle. And as you can see, guys, you know, even the candle from yesterday was still telling us to sell it. This big wick here is just a rejection of price. That tells me sellers are still in control of this market. Okay, and then obviously today, CPI figures, the market has just come crashing down. But we was already looking for sells with this pair. So yeah, if we drop down to the H4 now, you can see we had this grey zone here highlighted as well. Yeah. So price, you can see, has reacted many times at this level, and that's all we're looking for. If you want to plot a support and resistance level, guys, just look where price has touched it. You know, the more touches it gets, the more, you know, the more obvious and reliable the support or resistance level is. And yeah, we was actually in a trade since yesterday. So if we go to the H1, guys, we was actually shorting from in here. Yeah, we were selling from here. We had our stop above here, and our first target was down to here, which we've literally just hit. But this is still going. But at my target, guys, which is this blue line, I take 80% of the trade. So I secure some profit, and then I'm going to let 20% run, and potentially can even add to this trade later on.
What I see here is we see the market was pushing up previously. Now the market is going down. So this, to me, it seems like a downtrend. So, but the best way is to draw the previous trend so that we can able to catch this new trend that we have currently. So let's see. The market was pushing up. If you still remember, Russia or OPEC countries, they were cutting some production, oil production. So that forced the market on oil to actually push to the upside. So I don't know if maybe they changed that. Now we see that it's pushing lower. If you trade oil, you should know about this. They did cut the production. I think it's a few months ago. I think it's August or September. So they did cut the production. Then we saw the market pushing up because the demand was pushing to the upside. The demand was higher. So what do we see? The market was pushing up very nice. This was aggressive uptrend. We can see how many touches we had: 1, 2, 3, 4, and several ones there. So this was a proper uptrend. So now let's go on the current one. So I think the market broke out here. Let's have something like this. We had something like that. Let's change this color. So we have something like that. So this is actually a sort of a new trend because the market was pushing up. So let me use 4 hours time frame now, because we are day traders, so we don't really have to just use bigger time frames non-stop, as we need to see, or as we need to place trades like daily. So what I see here is I need to redraw this properly, and I think the market is just giving us some very nice structure. It seems like the market it's reversing, but let me try a trend. Let me try to have a trend here. I don't really want to force this, but it seems to be making sense. We don't really have to force it. If it doesn't really make sense, we have to take it out. We have to take it out. So I don't think this one, to me, it makes sense. Let's see. No, it does. So let's see this. Let's draw this perfectly. So what we have is we have a new structure which is going down, and we call that structure a downtrend. So let me go on 1 hour time frame and see if maybe I'm not lying, because sometimes you can do this analysis to find out that the market was not respecting that. So on a daily time frame, yes, to me, I think that makes sense. So the market was actually pushing lower, actually on a downtrend. So what I see here is you can see these touches. You can see several touches there, and the market was doing its thing. So now the market seems to be breaking out, because now the dollar is losing sort of a momentum. So we don't know if maybe the market will just continue pushing up like that. So the best way here is to wait for a proper breakout or a proper retest before you jump on that US oil. But what I see is maybe this momentum is because of CPI. We don't know. Obviously, maybe it's that. So I think it's better to wait, because the market, it was on a very stronger downtrend. And if you know oil, you should check actually some news that concerns oil production. If things are going well on oil, most likely the prices will be going down. So, and if you checked CPI, things were very nice. It means the prices are going down. So maybe this move is just short-lived. So it's better to wait for a retest. If not, maybe the market will end up pushing lower.
This Euro chart that I've got pulled up is a huge breakout to the upside, as you pointed out, Marco. I mean, these candles show decisiveness, and to your point, oftentimes you see those big moves and then they kind of fizzle out and lose their steam. I think part of the fundamental outlook, I think, is that we've just had such a good, solid back-to-back numbers for dollar weakness. And so this was just the icing on the cake to complete the kind of the story, right? You had Fed meeting that went well, jobs numbers that were good, and the inflation number smacked it right where it needed to get hit. The target was hit. So actually was better than expected. So, you have all these different factors. I think if you start looking at what's happened with the euro, I think a lot of people might be feeling a little bit of FOMO today. They might be feeling like, oh, I missed the move. I want to get involved here. I think, may not get a chance to participate, but I would say the more kind of patient way to approach something like this is to potentially wait for a pullback if it happens. If it doesn't, if you just get that brief pullback before continuation, then again, I think you're kind of back set to waiting. But Miko, what do you think about euro dollar, pound dollar, some of these things that have kind of moved explosively? If you're on the sidelines and you're not in these trades, how do you potentially partake? And if so, where do you look for that?
So yeah, with euro, USD, and pound USD, I prefer euro. It's a little bit cleaner to pound, but yeah, it's an explosive move, and fear of missing out, not participating in these moves is definitely a thing that traders experience. But again, you're going to experience that all the time. You can't be in every move, and sometimes you take the trade expecting the move, and then you get stopped out as well. So it goes both ways. But with this convincing move to the upside here, I think things are really changing here with euro. And when I'm looking at my trends changing, I typically look at momentum as well, similar to Marco, because momentum kind of really shows direction. If we're kind of moving sluggish correctively, sometimes we don't really see follow through. But with this, especially a strong move previously, consolidation, another strong move. As you said, if we can get some pullbacks to this area here, this looks like a very nice place to pick up some longs. Now, will we get a pullback to that area? It's up to Euro USD. This thing could just continue to fly and maybe just have smaller corrections on the lower time frames. So maybe as the week progresses, we might see levels created on like the hourly chart, maybe 30-minute chart, and there could be some lower time frame opportunities to trade with as such. But for me, focusing the full H, this is where my focus will be. So if it gets there, then I'm gonna keep an eye out for it. I'm liking the high lows we're starting to print now, but again, it's up to Euro USD if I do get in a trade opportunity. And similar for pound, although pound I'm not as big of a fan of, because it's kind of like a big move up, big move down, big move up. Euro USD seems to bit more of a trend, bit more committed in the direction, although of course they do move very similar. Pound USD just about cleared the highs. I would like it if Pound USD can clear it just a little bit more, and then that will become an area of interest for me. But I don't like it when we just have one candle. I like it to push a little bit higher as well. But out of the two, I think the euro looks a lot better in my opinion. But again, they're very similar pairs, likely to do the same thing. And again, starting to really commit to the upside here. Could be coming up to some areas around 1.26. But yeah, looking for some pullbacks in euro. So let's see if we can get some.
Fair enough. Yeah, and I guess back to you, Marco, in terms of the rest of your watch list we discussed. Obviously, the euro so far, we've really dived in there. Anything else on your watch list today that looks as attractive to you?
Yeah, I just want to say, want to touch on a subject that you mentioned. So people missing out on this major move. Well, I would say that is not kind of an issue, because many times we get a pullback and then the price actually continues trending up. So I know most people are very hesitant when they see a move like this, and then it starts to retrace and then it starts creating new highs. They're very hesitant to buy because they thought that this was the meat of the move, but actually a lot of percentage can be made in the consecutive trend that this move basically sparks. So that is one of the ways to look at it, not to feel the fear of missing out, but actually looking for ways to get in on the trend if it continues, of course. So yeah, dollar setups, definitely looking to buy all of them. Okay, this now continued, so it's not pulling back just yet. The pound is not yet continuing, so it may give an entry. For the Japanese pairs like EJ, yeah, I'm looking for the same thing. I mean, we have two very big, nice candles, and I am looking for like a flag entry or a break and retest entry. So my analysis is the same for all of the pairs.
Here's what we got. Boom, the NASDAQ. 3% net institutional bullish setups. Now, what am I looking at? Far right column, guys. This will give you an inside look as to what overall the bullish or bearish flow of what each asset had in the latest filing is. So take a look. NASDAQ, big bulls, right? Big bulls coming in with the NASDAQ. And lo and behold, what do we have? We have the NASDAQ and S&P flying high this week. NASDAQ is up 2% on the day. It's bombing out there. It's flying high. Now, on the same token, you know, you take a look at the other things. Look at what is on the COT. The COT data had a gift-wrapped basket this week. The Australian dollar, the pound, the dollar, the euro, Bitcoin. I mean, most of the risk-on assets are seeing big buys from institutional money. They knew they had a little bit of a head start, it seems like, on getting in on this risk-on train that we've been talking about all day long on the show. Now, what's a little sketchy is that COT showed selling on the S&P 500, which is a little concerning considering I'm long. But again, you still got NASDAQ. There's some appetite for risk there. Oil, they sold. Yen, they sold. I mean, if you've been watching the yen and you saw this from Smart Money, this was a huge signal, right? And then you've also got NZD, CAD, Swiss franc, South African rand, platinum. So my point with showing you guys this here is that this shows us week to week what the big boys and girls, but it just sounds wrong. You don't want to say that. What they've been up to, right? The smart money players, what they've been buying, what they've been selling. So yeah, here is the breakdown. We've showed it here on the screen. Gold, by the way, slight up. NAS, huge up. Nikkei, what is going on with the Nikkei? They're out there buying the Nikkei out in Japan right now.
No, not at all. We saw exactly what we wanted to see. Lower CPI across the board. You know, last week we almost got stopped out, or trailed out, I mean. And we were like, you know, if we trail out, we take a win, we'll take what we get. But fortunately enough, it didn't hit it, kept going. So dollar looks super weak. The 2 years coming down hard. And I think the S&P has quite a bit of room to go up until we hit certain targets, as in, let me full screen this so it's easier to look at. So we have highs around 45.16 and then 45.41. this is on the 4-hour view, but just looking at previous tops, like we've broken clear above this falling trend line, clear above this megaphone pattern, lows around here that we broke in 4420s, and just a very strong 4-hour candle on the last 4-hour candle, and then we're off to a good start now. But what it looks like it might want to do is possibly test these two levels, and in the meantime, we've seen a massive run, so there could be some consolidation, but I think we're closer. Well, we are closer to the target than we are to support. So I think that the index is likely going to complete this move, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, I mean, Frank, it's as you mentioned, we can't. We were looking at our position last week when Jerome Powell was set to speak, and we were staring at it. We were saying, yeah, we're going to probably get trailed out here. But, we weathered the storm, and it just goes to show how, markets are difficult. We never know exactly how far they're going to pull back. But the reference that Frank and I are making is that we trailed our stops here, last week, just shy of where price pulled back to. And of course, there's been plenty of times, admittedly, I'll self-tell on myself. There's been plenty of times where I trail it right there. I get tagged out and Minute does this move without me. So it's nice to be in it this time. And again, Frank, I just want to say we both caught this trade and pretty much traded exactly right. So it's especially cool that we caught the same trade that worked so well. And again, this is coming off. I've made this point each time we talk about the trade because I want to stay real with people. I had a 3-month losing streak. I had winners in there, but net P&L was down for 3 months straight, and that sucked for a long time. Frank and I were looking at each other, we're like, nothing's working. And lo and behold, you stick to the plan, you stick to the strategy, you stick to what works for you long term. It comes around. It's just, this is the mental game of trading is when it's right, when it's going well, you can't get too excited. And when it's going terrible, you can't abandon your entire philosophy.
Don't forget to check out the links in the description if you want our broker recommendation, access to our free Discord, free Edge Finder, or want to chat with us on Telegram. Remember, you can watch us live in the markets every morning starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and we have lots more free trading tools and content available on our website, a1trading.com. Thanks for watching.